and time. Good morning, judges. It's an honor for me to be here. My name is Claire. The future of flavor in coffee is fermentation with intention. Our history with fermentation has been functional, but there's a new wave of producers using knowledge and precision to craft the flavor profiles that they want using fermentation. My coffee today is the greatest example of this. But before we dive in further, I'll just be preparing a few things for my signature drink, including my signature drink espressos to allow them to cool for later. I'll be using the same recipe for each course, just a dose of 20 grams in and a yield of 39 grams out, as I found that this gave me the best tactile experience for this coffee of a medium weight and a juicy texture. My brewing temperature today will be 94 degrees Celsius, as I found that this gave me the best extraction, that highlighted the best overall taste balance, and gave this coffee an incredible high quality sweetness. Now my coffee today is produced by Dr. Mauricio Chata at his farm, Finca La Negrita, located at 1,900 meters above sea level in the Tolima region of Colombia. Now, I think that this region is the best in the world for producing coffee. So along with that altitude, Mauricio benefits from cool temperatures, abundant shade, and volcanic soil, which means that the taste of his coffee is already extraordinary. Today I'll be serving you his naturally processed Sidra cultivar, which is a cross between Typica and Red Bourbon. Now, Sidra has incredible flavor qualities already. But the reason I'm serving you this Sidra today is purely because of the flavors that Mauricio has managed to create using intentional fermentation. But how does he do this? Well, as you can see on the cards in front of you, fermentation is coffee is when yeast and bacteria consume sugar within the coffee cherry in order to produce energy. But in addition to energy, this process also generates many other new compounds. And these compounds can diffuse into the green coffee seed, changing its chemical composition and its flavor. So by selecting a particular type of yeast or bacteria and controlling its environment, a producer can craft and elevate the flavor of their coffee. That is exactly what Mauricio has done with this Sidra. So he starts by picking the cherries when they reach a ripeness of 20 bricks, as this gives the best overall sugars available for his fermentation. Then he floats the cherries in a solution of sodium hypochlorite, as this cleanses off any indigenous yeast or bacteria that could interfere with his fermentation. Then he places the cherries in a stainless steel tank and inoculates them with a specific yeast, Saccharomyces cerevisiae, or commonly known as baker's yeast. Without using this specific yeast, Mauricio would not be able to create the flavor clarity or the vibrant acidity that you'll have in this espresso. The tank is kept in a temperature-controlled dark room that gets no hotter than 18 degrees, and the pH is monitored so that it gets no higher than 4.5. It is this level of control that allows Mauricio to create the vibrant fruit flavors in your espresso of red currant and nectarine. The fermentation lasts for 48 hours, and during this time, the tank is constantly flushed with nitrogen. This is to remove the byproducts carbon dioxide and carbonic acid. These can create astringency in coffee, and so by removing them, Mauricio ensures that this coffee has a long-lasting finish. The coffee is then dried for 6 weeks at 20 degrees Celsius in order to preserve all of those flavors. All of this work culminates in an espresso that just gets better as it cools down. So judges, when I serve you your espresso, please assess the crema, but don't drink until I ask you to do so. So along with that red currant and nectarine, you'll also get tasting notes of dried cherry, marzipan, and baker's chocolate. The texture, pardon me, the weight even, is medium. The texture is juicy. There we are. The finish is long-lasting and lingers with that baker's chocolate. There we are. Just hold off until I say. Thank you very much. Now, judges, when you're ready, please stir your espressos front to back 15 times before popping your spoons in those green jars to your left, and please enjoy. Now, judges, let's move to your milk course. And for your milk course today, I'm using that same espresso recipe, but I'm combining it in a ratio of 1 part espresso to 3 parts milk. And I'm using a blend of milks, 60% of a 4% full fat, blended with 40% of a freeze-distilled lactose-free milk. And this combination of fat and sugar in that ratio gave me the best harmonious balance and created flavor notes in your milk drink of light brown sugar and macadamia nut. I'm steaming the milk to 60 degrees Celsius to maximize its sweetness. And that will transform that baker's chocolate from the espresso into a note of white chocolate in your milk drink. Now, the fermentation flavors in your coffee are not the only source of fermentation flavor in this course, because as milk ages, lactobacillus bacteria consumes the sugar within it, producing lactic acid, and it increases the acidity of the milk as it ages. So today, I'm serving you a milk that is 5 days old, as I found that this allowed me to highlight best the dried mango in your milk drink. This drink also has a coating texture, and it reminds me of melted ice cream. Now please stir these 5 times before again popping your spoons in those green jars to your left. Now, many of the flavors that fermentation creates are not volatile in green coffee. So in order for us to be able to enjoy them, the coffee has to be roasted. And as a coffee roaster myself, there we are. That's where I come in. So I roasted this coffee to a 212-degree end temperature. For a total roast time of 10.5 minutes. There we are. Thank you very much. What this roast approach allowed me to do was lengthen the Maillard phase, enhancing the sweetness and the texture of the coffee. But by keeping that end temperature lower, thank you very much, I was able to ensure that I maintained the clarity of the fruit flavors that you perceived in the espresso. And there we are, last but not least. I hope you enjoy your milk drinks. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Now, many of the flavors that we've enjoyed today in this coffee are a direct result of Mauricio's intentional fermentation. This coffee with this yeast and in this environment. And that inspired me for my signature drink because I wanted to elevate the flavors of the Sidra whilst also creating a new taste experience using fermentation. So as you can see in front of you, there's a small black box. If you could please grab the lid, flip it open, and rest it on the table for me. Perfect, just like that. Inside, there are 2 samples. These are both just for your reference. They're not for scoring. Sample 1 is just blueberry juice. If you could please take a sip for me and then pop the cup back in the box. So it's juicy and it's sweet, but it's one-dimensional in its flavor. Sample 2 is my first signature drink ingredient, what I call sweet lacto-fermented blueberries. If you could please take a sip of sample 2 for me. Thank you. It's got much more vibrant acidity and much more complex flavor profile. So what I did was I added 200 grams of blueberries and inoculated them with half a gram of lactobacillus bacteria. I sealed them in an oxygen-free environment like this one and allowed them to ferment for 48 hours at 25 degrees. The bacteria consumed the sugar in the blueberries and created, as you tasted, lactic acid and many more complex flavors. I then added 15% back of sugar in order to enhance the texture. And when I add 36 grams of that to 6 shots of my chilled Sidra, they combine to transform the flavor and create new notes of blackcurrant and white jasmine tea. Next, I'm adding a hibiscus cold brew made with 1 part hibiscus tea to 10 parts water, brewed for 12 hours. This will enhance the complex acidity in the Sidra, but when combined with that blueberry ferment, creates a new note of strawberry. Now, many of the sugars in those blueberries disappear during the fermentation to create new flavors. And so to restore synergy to the drink and to highlight the sweetness of the Sidra, I'm making a coconut sugar syrup, 1 part coconut sugar to 1 part water. By adding 15 grams of this to my signature drink, it combines with the coffee and the blueberry to create a new note of fruity cacao nib. And finally, I'm adding half a gram of salted orange blossom water, which is 5 parts of a 10% salt solution to 1 part orange blossom water. This elevates the stone fruit within the Sidra, but combined with my blueberry ferment, creates a new note of lemon zest. And finally, inspired by Mauricio and his fermentation choices, I will be charging your drink with nitrogen. And what this will allow me to do is create a velvety texture, a wine-like tannic structure, thank you, and a long-lasting finish that lingers with that lemon zest. I'm serving the drink at 15 degrees Celsius to get the best overall synergy. This combination of these ingredients, this fermentation, and this coffee create a unique flavor experience. But by using knowledge, precision, and intention, thank you, we can transform the flavor profile of any coffee by using fermentation. This excites me because this opens up so many new opportunities for us as an industry. And I can't wait to see the flavor journey that fermentation takes us on next. Thank you so much, and time.